Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Holt from Exodus and formerly from Slayer, and you're listening to The Razor's Edge.
I'm here at Desertfest, just outside the Black Art on Saturday, with Slomatics.
Yeah, with Chris.
Marty.
And David. Hello.
How's it going?
Very well. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon indeed, yeah.
Not long till you play.
Yeah, a couple hours until we play, so enough time for me to have a shandy or two. And yeah, just relax. It's a great atmosphere here, so yeah, just kicking back, soaking up some bands and
Meeting with friends, saying hi.
Friends.
You know, usuals.
Are you guys regulars at Desertfest London?
Get over what we
About
can,
6
yeah.
years ago, wasn't it? I mean, we were when we last played. Again in the underworld.
Yeah. You've played 3 times now at Desertfest.
That's my third.
yeah?
Yeah, the previous band we had a couple of years before that, the old band War Iron in the Blackheart here.
Yeah, I guess we get over whenever we can. It's,
Yeah. London's always nice to get to, isn't it?
Difficult balancing sort of weekends being away with the band and weekends being away watching things. So obviously playing makes it a lot easier to get those passes to get away for the weekend.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think my first time was when Sleep were on in like 2017. I went as a punter and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I think we played that 2017. Yeah, so it was
that was the year.
It's been about 6
Yeah,
years
yeah.
since we've played it,
Yeah.
and unfortunately we've not been back to see it. But then COVID and all those things, you know.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Yeah, I think we've done a few other shows for the same promoters, and we have been in London a few times since then. So it's nice to be back for this fest.
Of course.
And we've done, as you know, we've done a few other Desertfest shows as well. So we were in Belgium for the Antwerp show in October.
October last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. that was probably the first time I felt really like the whole kind of COVID gloom had sort of lifted, and it was back to the feeling of being at a fest in the old days, I think.
Feels like we're slowly trawling back to normal, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, it felt like a natural, good, proper gig, didn't it? Not normal, just nice.
What's on the cards for today's show? Like, I mean, I guess it's a few years since the last full length, and Ascend Descend must be about a year old now. But have you got any new stuff?
Well, we have a new album that's just been mastered, but we're not going to play anything off it today, just because it's probably not going to be out until about October. We don't want to jump the gun too much, and also with it being Desertfest and quite a big crowd and so on, we don't want to fill the set half full of songs no one's heard before. We will be back here later in the year, and we'll be playing at least one song off it then. But as soon as it's out, you know, half that record will be live. But yeah, it was done. So like during lockdown, I think we put out 2 split albums, a 7-inch, and wrote the album. So it has been it's been 4 years, I think, since Canyons, which is the longest gap we've had between albums.
Yeah, for albums for sure.
In a long time, but then that's down to just what's happened.
Yeah.
And we have put out an album's worth in the meantime, so it is what it is, you know. But yeah, this record out, hopefully aiming for late September, early October.
Yeah, I guess it all depends once it's mastered here and the art's finished, get it off to the plants and we'll see what those delays look like then. But hopefully, yeah.
Depends if Adele puts out a record between now and then. If that happens, you'll see it in about 2025. So, you know, we'll see.
But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to have finished another batch of new songs, and
Of course.
yeah, I mean, everyone always says it. It feels like these are really strong batch of songs, and we're really excited about getting them out to people's ears. So
We're looking forward to playing them live, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think with this album we wanted it to be more concise. So songs are quite short and straight to the point. So hopefully they're songs that'll work really well live.
Yeah.
So it was tempting to do one today, but you know, you have a certain length of time for your set, and you don't want to confuse people. So that is what it is.
we should have a wee surprise in our set later on though. So that's all good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
There is. Can't say anything.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
So yeah, a little surprise in the set for
Maybe a nod towards the last time we played.
Maybe.
That's a clue.
Well, actually, given this is going out after we've done the set,
Yeah.
That's not a surprise
There's no
anymore.
point in being mysterious anymore. Pete from Elephant Tree is going to get up and sing one of our songs with us.
Fantastic.
So it'd be great. Last time we played you, John from Conan got up and did a song with us. So it just feels like a good time to get up and have a friend belt out something. So yeah.
If that's not what festivals are all about.
Yeah.
Exactly, coming together, having a bit of fun. Yeah, making a festival experience something a bit special, isn't it?
What's the point of having talented friends if you can't abuse the talents now and again?
Yeah.
Well, I think at Slomatics live show, the way I tend to think of it is you get a big wall of noise from, well, 2 guitars and a drummer. I'm interested if there's been any new additions to your pedal boxes that might have made appearances on the new records that you weren't using previously.
No,
Well, Chris is the man really. We've kind of gone in opposite directions. I actually use much less now. Stuff I'm playing is just basically a fuzz pedal and a really loud amp. And that was kind of a deliberate move to create a bit more space in what we were doing, rather than just like the live show is just both of us either side of the drum kit really loud, and it's meant to be just exactly what you say, the wall of noise. Live is different than the studio, so well, you've started using
I've kind of got into a couple of reverb pedals and Eventide Black Hole and Boss RV6, and I own a couple of Boss SY1s and EHX Mel 9s. I've gone away down that route a little bit, and again it's sort of trying to keep things. I have a slightly bigger board that we use for practice room and recording, with a switcher on and things like that, but for flying shows it's a more a tighter board with sort of 4 or 5 pedals just to get the flavour of everything else. And so I'm also aware when we're creating those broader textures how we'll integrate those in live. If we think the song is going to be performed live, I mean, we have written songs that we know will never make it to the live stage, so it doesn't matter. You can throw the kitchen sink at those things. And I mean, I've always lots and lots of crazy ideas about things with guitars and this and that. I mean, I think I had the aluminium neck on the Strat for the last couple of years now, and it's definitely added a bit to the sound. I think since the last recording, I switched both guitars and now running Railhammer pickups, which I really like. They seem to cut really well and work well.
Excellent. Excellent.
And again, it's just about getting those textures and finding that balance with what Dave's doing, really.
Oh, I hear that. It might sound good by itself, but in a full band, it might sound like a wet fart, maybe.
Actually, you say pedals that you might have bought. I mean, I got a one of the Waza Boss HM2s for Christmas, and we used it a little bit in the studio, and it just cuts in that right place. Used it with a single coil Telecaster to put some layers on, and
with a capo on the 12th.
With a capo up there,
just
and,
about as high as you can get with a really thin distortion sound, which isn't the sound we go for live, but it works there. But then live's just a different thing. You know yourself.
Of course.
You know.
I understand that Slomatics came out of a DIY background. How does that influence what you do today, or have you kind of forgotten about it completely?
I think it permeates everything we do and everything we think about. We were really lucky that we all had friends involved in running a DIY punk venue back in Belfast, with Marty way back from the mid-80s, and that's how we all met. So I think we're always aware of what's involved in putting on a show for promoters, what's involved for us, and hopefully being fair and around that with each other, how we record, how we deal with labels. It's all very much rooted in that. In the background. I mean, a friend of ours has a phrase, DIYP, do it yourself properly. DIY sometimes people assume means half-assed, and I very much believe you can be DIY and quality. So that's what we're trying to do.
And it gives you, I think as well, we've talked about this before, the DIY scene in Belfast, because Belfast's a really small city, and certainly Chris moved to Belfast in the 90s. Marty and I grew up in Belfast. In the 80s we were going to the Warzone Collective, which is the DIY punk collective, and it was like a real eye-opener for us as 16 year olds. Anti-vivisection, anti-war, anarchist politics,
anti-sectarian.
In a city that was the opposite of that, was a very conservative and very divided city. This was there's total unity in this thing. But as well as that, Matt, the thing that we always take away from it is that those collectives are not about having rules about anything. And I think we meet younger bands who are saying we want to headline the gig, as if that matters, as if that is a thing.
I think being on the post is half the battle, to be honest.
Absolutely. But in the background that we grew up in musically, there was no headliner. It was just bands that were playing, and it could be a grindcore band, and then a jazz band, and then a surf band, and then a straight heavy metal band,
or spoken word even.
Poetry nights, and that was just all together, and just nobody was a dick.
Yeah.
And I think,
And I think
that's a good rule to
yeah.
take with you when you're coming to like festivals like this that are really professionally organised and have proper full-time bands playing them. We can fit in here no bother because, take that approach to it. Like it's just try to be nice to people and try to do your thing.
I understand
And also like takes away the limitations of what you can do. So like we've no bass player. We use synthesizers. It doesn't matter, playing a festival like this because we've played with all those weird bands in the past.
Yeah, I mean, like thinking about, like we've played shows with White House, we've played shows with Electric Eel Shock, we've played shows with post-punk from Japan, we've played shows with, whatever. I mean, and it's really nice to be on those really varied experiences,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
They're almost better than the straight, I don't know, Doom nights because you get more of the floating people who never heard of you before, wouldn't have come otherwise, and then you leave with a handful of new fans that.
And it's not the doom and sludge. You want your oral respite, don't you?
a friend
you
of
want
ours,
to hear different things. The eclecticism and music. Music should be eclectic. It should be all embracing, shouldn't it?
a friend of ours used to run a show in Belfast called Curfew every year around the time that everything shut down for marching season in Belfast. So for a little while things became a bit awkward around the city, and at that point he would put on this really eclectic fest where you'd have rap bands with bubble pop bands with us playing, with noise, with post-punk, with
Punk,
punk with crust, with whatever, and everyone was there because they wanted to say screw you the people that were shutting down the city, and show that unity in music. And on top of that you saw some absolutely amazing stuff, which was I suppose
But you mightn't even expose
really what the punters want to see, is
And then I think in that scene as well, people played for themselves and for the other people in that scene, which sounds a bit insular, but like it removed any desire to be in a band to achieve anything. It's like playing that gig is achieving it, or going to the rehearsal space and writing a song is achieving it, and that's never left us. Like every time we play a really big festival, I guess it's amazing because it's so much fun. You've got a huge audience. They're a really good night out. But if tomorrow nobody ever booked us again, we practice on a Wednesday night from 6:30 onwards. We'll still be there every single week because that's what the DIY background gives you, just the joy of doing it for doing
music,
it,
with your mates.
Of course, it's what it's all. It's an escape, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Hopefully in a friendly and safe environment where it's all embracing. That's what it should be.
I have to say it's really great to come back here, and I mean this morning we've bumped into a few friends from different festivals we've seen around Europe certainly. It's been great, bumped into the other runs, Freak Valley, Ollie that's involved in Osabats around, some people we were at a show we played in Southampton a while ago, and it's great. It's still it's a big fest, but it's still a very small. I use the word scene. It's it's such a shitty word, but
community.
Small community, small collective of people.
I like the word community. Grassroots community.
It's a grassroots community of music lovers, and it's still a very small community.
Absolutely right. Well, as you said, we're back in Camden. There's a whole host of places to eat from. What are you having for dinner tonight?
This is a bone of some contention.
I'm going to ask.
At risk of libeling any local businesses, I'm going to keep quiet right now.
Okay.
I'll let Chris tell you about his. This is his culinary treat for Chris.
Go on, Chris.
I am a massive fan of Woody Grill, and if you're looking endorsements, Woody Grill, I'm your man. In fact, I brought my wife and young daughter to London on a holiday a couple of years ago, sort of mid-pandemic, and I took them to the Woody Grill for a sit-down meal, tell them they were having this wonderful. They weren't as impressed as I was, but
it's all about the falafel.
Yeah, I'm hoping to fit 2 of them in today. That's my mission. Pre-Woody's Grill and a post-Woody's Grill.
Yes.
Pre-show and post-show.
One for the pocket on the way home.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it says about somebody who hasn't had their first kebab of the day, that they're planning their second kebab before they've had their first. I'm not sure if that's a healthy attitude in 2023, but it's there.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy, man.
Yeah. What about yourself? What's your?
Oh man, I love going to the market and having a bit of. I like spicy Asian food. I don't like, vanilla, gentle Asian food. I want to feel it the next day when I have.
Yeah, well, the problem is you don't want to feel it on stage. Is my panic.
Absolutely right.
I mean, I also like the spicy food, but
I don't like to feel full when I'm performing. It's not a nice feeling.
That's it.
You don't want to be hitting the brown note after a spicy curry.
Literally.
No.
No, I'll save that for a little later on. But the street pizza store's pretty good. You get a slice, it lasts you, but still.
That sounds perfect.
I think pizza sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have had a little something earlier on today, so the fear is, of course, I just go full
Polish
liquid
sausage
diet.
and chips.
Polish sausage earlier on.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Marty's far too healthy, and so's David. So
I'm on the celery and air.
yeah.
Celery in there. Oh, that's good. Rice, peas, and spinach.
Rice,
rolls.
peas, and spinach.
Rice, peas,
That's,
spinach,
that was the correct answer. Rice, peas, and
That's
spinach.
always a winner.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a Slomatics. It's been a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
We've been at Desertfest. This is the Razor's Edge. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you keep up to date with future episodes by subscribing to our channels. For more information on this podcast, or for all the latest music news, reviews, interviews and more, head over to our website www.therazorsedge.rocks.